Yes.
Number 9 lit. Because 9 is lit, baby. It's lit, baby. It's talking about you and me. Let's talk about all things. Okay. Alright. I needed green.
Why would you put the moons, like, 9 and 10 are both long ones?
Yeah, that's pretty long.
And there's, like, not enough space.
Oh, maybe I should make the space bigger on the
Like, you
test.
should give a full page.
Okay. Deal.
Sounds good.
Alright, so number 9. We gotta work through this thing. The really cool thing about number 9 is that it's an isosceles triangle. So I know that if I cut number 9, guys, you gotta focus. Someone's talking, and I'm talking, and that's rude. Alright, so I'm gonna cut this and do a height, okay? This is my height. But when I do that with a isosceles triangle, what happens is I cut this becomes a perpendicular bisector. Because these two sides are congruent, then this becomes a angle bisector, and it is a perpendicular bisector. Okay? So I'm going to be cutting both of these in half. Does that make sense? Okay? Alright. Because these, and the reason that happens is because these are congruent. Okay? Because these two sides are the same, the angles have to be congruent. Geometry.
Sure.
Alright? So if I know that that's 52, I can actually figure out these angles, can't I?
Yeah.
How? This really helps.
52, 90.
Because think, 52, they all have to be 180, right?
That's what they're asking.
So 52 plus 2 theta, because these are both to be theta, right? 2 theta would equal 180, right?
Yeah.
And the reasoning, think back to geometry, the reasoning behind that would be that the definition of a triangle is that the angles add to be 180, right? Okay, so then we subtract 52. And we get 2 theta is equal to 100 and, well, not 30, but 2 less than 30, which would be 128, right?
Where'd you get 20?
That's not 20. That's 2 theta.
Oh, shit.
Okay? Alright. So number 2 is subtraction property of equality. Okay? And then we're going to divide by 2. So theta is going to equal half of 128. What's half of 128?
64. 64.
64. Okay? Why? Division property of equality. Now, if that's true, if this is 64 and this is 90, then what does this angle have to be? Let's call this angle phi. So there's 2 ph's here, right? Now, of course, they're going to cut that in half, but we're proving it right here. We're going to prove that it cuts in half. Because if I know that these are both 64, not 60, the heck am I drawing? 64, right? Then 64 plus 90 plus phi is equal to 180, right? And again, That's the definition of triangles. Triangle angles that add to be 180 degrees. Okay? And then we simplify it really quick. What's 64 and 90? 154 plus phi is equal to 180. Right? Okay? So, why? Well, we simplified. Okay? Then what? We subtract by 154. And we get that phi is equal to, 54 less than 80. 60 less than 80 would be 20, right? And so 20 plus 6 would be 26.
42.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Alright, so again, subtraction, property of equality. Okay? Alright, girls. And men. Alright, never mind. Okay. Alright, ladies. So we know what this is. Phi is 26. And that makes sense, right? Because 26 and 26 is 52. So you see how that all works out? So we know what the angles are. That's beautiful. Right?
Yeah.
Because I know what the hypotenuse is, right? So let's take a look at that. I have a triangle
I have a dream.
that has a height of I don't know. That has a base of I don't know. But has a hypotenuse of 10. Okay? Now, I also know that this side is 64 and that this side is 26. So, what side do we want to find? The hypotenuse? Or the height or the base? We're going to have to find both of them, right? So height. Let's go with height first. Alright, so the height. The height is what?
Unknown. Right?
Think. I'm looking for opposite and hypotenuse. What has opposite and hypotenuse? Sine.
Oh, that's what you meant by what?
Sine of 64 is equal to h over 10, right? So that means I multiply both sides. Now this is what? This is the definition, right? The definition of sine, right? Mm-hmm. The definition of sine is that it equals opposite over hypotenuse. Okay? Now, I multiply both sides by 10. 10 sine 64 is equal to the height. Why? Multiplication property of equality. I multiply or divide? Yeah, multiply both sides by 10. Okay? Alright, so now I know what H is. Can I find B?